Okay, so today we're going to be talking about something that I never even thought that I would be featuring on my channel, but I'm pretty glad to have it today. So let's talk blades, everybody. That's what we're into. Today I have for you guys another Benchmade, and as you can tell from the title, this is a type of Benchmade that I didn't expect to own, but had the opportunity to do so, so why not? We're going to be talking about Benchmade Model 62. And yes, this is a very, very attractive knife. So much so that it should remind you of another model, of another Benchmade. And with that, I bring proudly back to this channel the Benchmade Model 42. 20 models later, and we have the Benchmade 62. Now I'm going to tell you guys the overall thoughts and opinions I have about this particular blade here, and what I've learned from a particular person who I don't know if he thinks of himself or he's a self-renowned know-it-all of knives, and way more than anybody that I know. When I was talking to him, he was telling me one of the reasons why they particularly Benchmade themselves decided to make the Model 62 the way that it is, and not necessarily the protege of the Model 42. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you are looking to purchase this because you want a Model 42, and this is the closest thing you can get to a Model 42, I'm going to tell you right now that there are two different knives, and I'm going to go ahead and do a comparison on that. So I really don't know how long this video is going to be, so sit back, relax, and kind of bear with me. I'm not trying to go off of any script. This is also just going to be off of my personal opinion in what I know and then what I was told. So here is the Benchmade 42, original Benchmade 42. So I'm going to put the 62 to the side so you guys have an understanding. This is titanium handle scales, okay? It's got the spring latch, and I never really knew how sought after this knife was until somebody ended up telling me through my comments saying that, dude, that is a very sought after knife. And I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, I don't even understand. My initial reaction was, what? Huh? Head scratch. But after doing a little bit of research, I realized that this is a discontinued knife, which I did not know about. This was the very first balisong I was given from a buddy of mine who ended up not caring for it. Now, and I'm not saying not caring for it because he didn't want it. I'm not caring for it because he had it, and he lost it, and he initially forgot about it. Came across it, figured, I'm going to give it to one of my good friends who's always trying to lighten my day, and he handed it off to me. So this was somebody's, and it was passed on to me. Funny thing, too, the guy has tons of knives, and this is a side story. I'm going to say this real quick. Guys, he's gone through tons of knives. I can't say he has tons of knives. He actually went through so many knives. And what I mean by went through, at the end of every knife life, as he says, he purposely breaks them at the very end of their life in order to have a reason to buy a new knife. I don't understand that logic very well, and I'm going to agree with you. That's probably the dumbest thing anybody's ever heard. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard that anybody would ever do. But this is the only one that he found, tried to clean up a little bit, resharpen, and then handed it off to me. So hats off to you. Thank you very much. You didn't have to do that. But he decided that it needed to be handed off to a good home to be taken care of. So that's how I came in possession of this. That being said, get back to the reason of this video. I did not realize how sought after this knife was until that one comment to one of my videos. This was one of the, like I said, the very first balisong that I was ever given, and it stayed in my collection for a long time. I literally just kept it away. And of course, my buddy would come along, and I'd show it to him. He misses his knife. He does. And I'd hand it to him. He'd carry it for a little, couple weeks, then hand it back to me. And he's just like, "Yeah, I'm done with it. I'm good. You can have it for good now. I'm done with it. I don't need it." And he doesn't know anything about knives. He doesn't. Being a Marine, he's more into guns and all this and that. He does have appreciation for knives, fixed blades and folders, all the likes. Switchblades, he's got them. He's had them. He's used them. He's broken them. He doesn't care. So knowing what I did know about this knife at the time, I closed the book on it, and I didn't think of anything else. And that being said, this kind of fell wayside. Yeah, so it's been kind of my crown jewel, because it was the only balisong that I had at the time, until I was starting to pick up other balisongs from elsewhere, trades and whatnot, friends, gifts, that sort of thing over the years. This has stayed as a good one. It really has. With that being said, I'm going to try and go through what I know about this knife. It has a single pin, tang pin, right here in the middle. I need to clean this knife. I really do. I'm afraid of taking it apart, but this is channeled titanium, and I believe it is a single billet titanium handles, which is fantastic. It's got the spring latch that it's known for and famous for. Okay, the Weehawk blade style. And you can see that it does say Balisong 42, and this is 154 cm. If I can get it in frame. Oh, sorry, upside down. 154 cm, Benchmade USA. And of course, you guys saw the original pouch that it came in. All that good and happiness, all right? Back to the actual reason of this video. Now, if you're jumping from this, which is really hard to find online, to this, I guess aesthetically it does look, once you get this 62 in your hands, I'm gonna tell you one thing right away. You're gonna realize that it is a completely different knife from the 42 if you've ever owned a 42. If you haven't owned a 42 and you're jumping to a 62, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is a heavy knife. It's heavy because it has these stainless steel handles, D2 steel, and it's just heavy, dude. It's heavy. It's got Zen pins. I like that. It has Zen pins, okay? And the only thing that really, really kind of hurts me on this is the weight. The weight on this knife, oh man, it's a huge difference. I'm gonna pull out my scale so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. I'm actually working on a new table, so please forgive me. Everything's kind of elevated in different ways, so if I sound slightly different, it's because I'm a little farther away from the mic. But hopefully it comes out just fine. So this 62 comes in at 6.34 ounces. Let's go ahead and weigh the 42 real quick. 4.41. Yeah. 6 ounces. But it's not like they're bringing this guy back. I would love to see this guy come back. I would like to. I would really like to see what the newer 42 would look like. Of course, it'll probably be like a Benchmade Model 92 or something like that, if they were to ever do, which I highly doubt. But if they did, like a special run, that'd be really neat to see. But I don't have to worry about that, obviously. I'm not looking at getting rid of this anytime soon, so sorry, people. But here it is. The thing about this knife here, when you're looking at it, the pattern on the handles are very much the same, except the handle on this is shorter than the handle on this. Stainless steel, titanium, open construction, sandwich, and single billet, I believe. So the aesthetics-wise, if you look, these are more circles. On the 42, they're more like ovals. You see that? If you look at the circles here, the main ones, they look like ovals. These are more circular. So the pattern looks the same, except for the holes are slightly different. Blade steel, 154 cm on the 42. On the 62, D2 steel. On the spine, okay, you can tell that the spines look different. So I'm going to try and keep this in frame, Try and keep this in frame. All right. This is all flat right here. Flat spine, nothing. Kind of sharp corners here. Right here, this is crowned off. This is rounded. The spine on this knife right here is rounded. So I really like that. This makes very comfortable for flipping. And for this being a heavy knife, this 62 being heavy, it does make a difference. You can actually feel anytime it hits your fingers. You can feel the difference between this and this. So I'll put these side by side. The blade length on this, if I keep it in frame, I believe it's the same length. It's the same blade length. Except for this one's probably, I'm trying to line them up. Yeah, this one's probably just a smidge shorter, but that's because this was sharpened. This was sharpened, not by me, by the original owner. So this doesn't really have a needle tip like it used to, like this one does. But it's still the same blade. It's still the same profile, that Weehawk blade style that we all come to love. This one I don't use. I just, I flip it from time to time and I put it away. I don't want to deconstruct it, you know what I mean? I don't want to abuse it too much. So if I feel like I need to flip it, yeah, I'll flip it. So when you're flipping this knife, it's lighter, much lighter. This freaking brick, when you're carrying it, it is a brick. Flipping it off camera. But I can tell you, because of this being heavier, it's not bad. Flipping it is not bad. Now, if you're going to try and do some serious tricks on this that you normally would on a lighter balisong, I'm going to tell you right now, you are going to feel fatigue after a little bit, because this is a heavier knife. Obviously, if you don't already know that. But I'm trying to state that because there are people out there that want to use this for flipping. This is not intended for that. This is intended to be an EDC knife for heavy use. It's supposed to withstand a beating. This is what it was designed for. That's what I was told. I could be wrong, and that's fine. I don't know what to believe. What I do believe is what I'm being told. All right, I'm being told that this is an EDC. It has the blade steel that it has. It has the handle scales that it has to be a decent flipper, not intended for competitions or tricks. Of course, you could do that with this knife. I'm not saying that it's impossible or that it shouldn't be done. I'm saying that this knife wasn't intended for that. A knife like this was intended for that, because it's got a lighter handles, it's got a different design to it than this does. But that's what I've been told. That's what somebody told me who is basically a knife know-it-all. Because we went on a rant on saying, we were talking about this and this, and it was pretty much a 45-minute rant about what I thought of it and why I didn't want this. And then he turned my perspective and said, dude, it's not designed. This was never designed to be a competition flipper. This was intended to be an EDC hard use knife, because it's and I can't say that, I'm not going to say, and I'm not saying that titanium isn't meant for that. Titanium is, in my opinion, stronger and lighter. So why switch? Why scale down to stainless steel? And that was my question, to which he didn't really have an answer. He basically tried to lead me off with lead me down a different road with other things and other explanations and what he thought was going on. So, and that's fine. That's okay. I don't expect him to have all the answers, but he claimed to decently have all the answers. I don't know. All right, anyways. The D2 steel, This is a tougher steel. It's going to hold an edge a lot longer, but at the same time, I think it's a little bit more brittle. If you were to drop this knife locked open and tip first, the handles are much heavier than the blade. But if that were to ever happen, you would more likely chip this blade than you would with 154 cm. With 154 cm, you would probably bend the tip, but you'd be able to bring it back true, hopefully, without chipping it. This would seem like the type of knife that is going to chip if dropped, because it's D2. So D2 is going to be a little stronger, but also a little bit more fragile. At least through my experience anyways. I'm not saying that that's factual. It's different for everybody, because everybody uses different steels and different knives for different things. So everyone's got different experiences, but I'm just telling you what I experienced. And I'm going to tell you right now, flipping this is not bad. It's a little heavy, but if anything, if you're going to use this for flipping, I'm going to tell you, you're going to build some dexterity, because this thing it's nice and heavy, and it's smooth out of the box. When I got it, it had a little bit of blade or handle play. So I'm just going to wiggle. You can see that? There's a little bit of handle play, and that's normal. That's how it came to me out of the box. I might go in there with Loctite later, take both screws out, put a little bit of Loctite, put them back in, and just kind of, experiment with it until it's nice and smooth. It's got that free swing that everybody loves so much. I'm going to tell you right now, though, the thing that bothers me about this is the handle length. The handle length is not the same. I'm going to line them up so you guys can see how similar it is, but how much shorter it is altogether. So I'm just going to line them up, get them so you can see them on screen. Okay? So it's a hit or miss. It just depends on your flavor, what you want, what you expect out of this Model 62. I'm going to tell you, like I said to everybody else, it is a brick in the pocket. If you drop this in your pocket, you will feel it, and it will be uncomfortable. Which, they have the if I can get it, they have the sheath, if you want to carry it on the sheath. How I'm carrying it, if I'm carrying it around, just, in my house anyways, I carry it in this. Put a little rip cord on it so that way I can just drop it in here and pull it out, It helps stay in the pocket a little better. That's just through my own personal experience. At least that, for as long as I've had it anyways. I like the Weehawk blade. I really do. It's a very, very iconic thing. But another thing is this. Okay? The 42 is famous for the spring latch. So if you are a fan of the spring latch, do not expect that with this. Benchmade 62, you're just going to have this free swinging, sledgehammer looking, really thin necked. And another thing too, if you were to drop this knife, and in the most horrible circumstances that it goes and it hits the ground with this latch out in any way, shape, or form, and you hit this latch, this is heavy enough to slightly bend this thing out of place. I've heard stories about that, and it is a true shame. You got to find a way to bend it back without ruining the knife or the latch. And though I've heard of that, and yes, I have dropped this. I've dropped this once, and it is heavy. I actually dropped it on my foot, closed, but it still hurt. And there's the dent right there. You can actually see it. That little dent right there. Yeah, that was from when it fell and it hit tile. I'm going to tell you, I was pretty sad, man, when that happened, because I really do like the look of this knife. There's a little bit of a dent right here. You can barely see it. But stainless steel, man, that's heavy stuff. And this is so much lighter and longer, and just it fits better in the hand. When you're doing flips, you need that extra length. It's so much better. This is shorter. Is it bad? No. But it's not something that, for an EDC, this is a very sturdy build for an EDC, heavy use. Balisong. I really do, and I gotta tell you the truth, I really love the crowning on the spine. It feels very comfortable when it's hitting my knuckles or hitting my hand at all. If I'm swinging it open or swinging it closed, it feels decent. I do not like this latch, but a lot of people, what they do is they put an O-ring of some kind on here to keep it from bouncing around, but it doesn't bother me too much. It only bothers me that it's not a spring latch like that. Or even on the Morpho, which, hey, I have it, and I almost forgot to even put it on screen for you guys, because I know somebody wants to say, hey, show the Morpho and put it right next to it so you can do a comparison. Well, here it is. Morpho. Boom. Lighter. About the same size as far as handles go. I want to say it's about the same damn size, except the only difference is this is so much lighter. So much lighter. And I believe, well, that's another thing too. Why couldn't they put this on this? Why does it have to be a different latch every single freaking time? Why couldn't they put the magnetic latch on this? That would have been cool to see, right? Or is it because this is stainless steel and that magnet wouldn't work? I don't know. I mean, that would have been really cool to at least have this guy on there. Because even that's really satisfying. Not as satisfying as, say, this, completely out of the way and sturdy and stationary. This is kind of floppy. But at least, I mean, it has that, and it's got the disc. I don't like this, Thor's hammer look on this thing. It just looks a little... And there's not too much to grab on that. This, at least you have the disc. And that's, that's actually comfortable. This is not. But, like I said, this isn't intended for tricks. This is intended for heavy use EDC, long-lasting, whatever. Bust open the Morpho, which I really do like the crowning on the spine. That makes a huge difference. If they ever come back with the Model 42 and make it a Model 90-something or 100-something, and it's still, we all know this is a Model 42 and not the Model 62, they need to crown the spine. That would make a lot of people happy, including myself. But as I'm putting these two together, they're literally about the same. The only difference is the size and the weight and the materials, unless this is also D2. Can't remember. Model 51. D2.